I am the math professor, Kyle Martin. In this video, we're talking all about factoring, and specifically when we can factor out a GCF, then our A term is going to be 1. All right, so in this video, we're going to learn when you can actually do this. You're not always able to. We're going to give you 3 examples, and then remember, there's timestamps in the video player down below. So let's get into it. All right, so in example 1 here, it says 2x squared minus 10x minus 12. This is a perfect example of when I'm actually able to use factoring, when I can take out a GCF and then my A term is going to be 1. All right, so remember, your A term, these are organized, so it's A, B, and C. It should go x squared, x to the first power, then this would be like x to the 0. You can just think of it as in decreasing order, 2, 1, none for your x's. Okay, but for your A term, if I were to look at what these all have in common, my GCFs, we can take out a GCF of 2. All right, remember, if you forgot how to find the GCF, I'll put a video right here for you. But once we do this, then what's left over is going to be, take my 2 out, right? Left over we have x squared, negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5x, and then negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. Okay, so you can see it's this part that's left over that now has my new A term, right? ABC, my new A term with a 1 as its coefficient. Okay, so since after I take out the 2, I have 1 left over as my coefficient, I am able to factor this like I did when my A term equals 1. Again, I'll put another video to that right up here. Okay, but if you remember, my new A, B, and C is 1, negative 5, and negative 6. So if I have my graphic organizer, I'm gonna put my A times C, 1 times negative 6, out here, that's negative 6. And then down below goes my B term, which is now negative 5. Remember, you have to use the leftover part. You can't go back to your original. You have to use this new A, B, and C when you do this. And then 2 numbers that multiply to be negative 6 and add to be negative 5. Well, you can remember, if you think of the factors of 6, so you just have 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. Okay, both of those were able to get to 5 somehow. We could take 6 minus 1, or we could take negative 2 minus negative 3. Let's see what would work here. I think the 6 and the 1 would work. And because, yeah, if I make the 6 negative, negative 6 times 1 is a negative 6, and negative 6 plus 1 is a negative 5. So the 2 numbers I found on the sides here are negative 6 and 1. I'm going to take my 2 parentheses, just like I did in my last video, and we're going to go x and x, splitting my x squared term, and then my negative 6 and my positive 1, fill those out. And the only difference this time is, instead of this being my answer, I now have to take that GCF from out front and put it in front of my 2 parentheses. So this, along with that 2 in front, is your answer. Another one here, example 2, says 3x squared minus 18x plus 24. Okay, so it looks like the GCF I can take out of this one is going to be 3. Remember, when I do the division, if it's going to end up as an A equals 1, you have to divide by whatever that coefficient is to start with in front of your A term. Okay, so all of these, we're going to be dividing by this number. All right, now, you'll probably be given an assignment that has a mixture of ones like this, where the A equals 1, after you take out GCF, and others where maybe it equals a prime number or a composite number. But for all of these today, we're going to be dividing by this number. Okay, in this case, it's a 3. So when I divide by that, I'm going to take my 3 out front, and then left over, we have x squared. Negative 18 divided by 3 is negative 6. Bring down the x, and positive 24 divided by 3 is a positive 8. Okay, so here my A term, A times my C term is going to be 8. Put that in my graphic organizer, A times C. The B term comes down to the bottom here and is a negative 6. All right, so what 2 numbers multiply to be a positive 8 and add to be a negative 6? The only way that can happen is if both of these numbers are negative, and it's going to be a negative 4 times a negative 2. Okay, negative 4 times negative 2 is a positive 8. Negative 4 plus negative 2 is a negative 6. So again, put my 2 parentheses here, split my x squared term as x and x, and then fill it in with negative 4 and negative 2. And then remember, our GCF does have to come out front of our answer to look like that. Okay, example 3, I wanted to give you a hard one. It says 5x squared minus 65x plus 180. Okay, so some big numbers here, but don't let those scare you. We're still going to do the exact same thing. We're dividing by 5 for each of these. Remember, we want our A term to end up being a 1. Okay, so when I take out a 5, I'm left with, this is going to be x squared. Negative 65 divided by 5, well, 50 divided by 5 is 10. And so this would be 15 more. So 10, 11, 12, 13, right? Negative 13x. And then if you do have to do a little long division, that's fine. Let's do it. 180. 5 goes into that. Well, 5 goes into 18 3 times. 3 times 5 is 15. Left with 30. And 5 goes into 36 times. So this would be plus 36. Okay, so now that you have this, erase that there. Now that you have this, our new A, B, and C is 1 and 36 for our A times C. So that's 36. Our new B term is negative 13. And then two numbers that multiply to be 36 and add to be negative 13 can be a little tricky. Let's write out their factors. All right, so this has 5 different pairs of factors: 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, and 6 and 6. We're looking for ones that either add or subtract to be 13. And I think the only ones that do that are 4 and 9, okay? So if I put a 4 and 9 here, remember, in order to multiply to be a positive and add to be a negative, the only way that can happen is if they're both negative, all right? So then I'm gonna fill in my parentheses with those numbers, but first I need to split my x squared to be x and x, the beginning of those binomials, and then negative 4 and negative 9. Okay, the other new part that we learned today is our GCF has to come out front of our answer. Hey guys, I hope this video on factoring helped you out. If it did, let me know down in the comments below. There hasn't been a comment on my whole channel that I have not responded to, okay? So let me know in the comments if this helps you or not. I don't really care if you give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, but I do want to know if this is helping because I can make more videos like this for you in the future.